Hey everyone, and welcome back to Shades of Sasha. If you're new here, take a seat, put your crown on, and welcome to the gang. And if you're ready for the gang, what's good, baby? So today's video, we are going to be getting into this middle part quick weave. So let's get to it. So whenever we're doing a quick weave, there are multiple ways in which we could achieve this look. And for today's video, I will be doing the method where we will be flipping the bundles and not necessarily cutting the bundles. And I'll explain that as we continue. But the first step in which you're going to need to take for today, we're going to do a middle part flip over, not a flip over, but a middle part quick weave. And so I'm making sure that I'm braiding the perimeter of leave out that I need, as well as the middle part leave out that I need. And then I'm going to braid my actual hair back just to make sure everything is going to lay really flat and everything's going to be exactly the way that I need it to be. So the same thing you see me do on one side is the same thing that I repeat and do on the other side. If you cannot braid, that is okay. All you need to do is just slick back your hair into a low ponytail or just a low bun, just to make sure like everything is out of the way and it will be as flat as possible. I braid inside out, so I'm always, kind of that person that I wasn't blessed with a black girl magic of really knowing how to braid that well. So I just make what works for me. And so that is the braid pattern that you see me doing here, and just making sure everything is towards the back. And then I put the black cap on. These bundles, I believe this is the exact company that got it from on Amazon, but it has to be like 3-4 years ago. So I'm not really sure, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, it has to be. So I'm doing the sealant on the black cap here, and I'm using gloves. I will highly recommend using gloves. I always think the safer you can be with just like what you are using is just going to be the best method ever. And I want to say I did about 2 to 3 coats, and then I let this air dry for about 4 to, honestly, it was about 10 to 20 minutes because I went to go cook or do something. Now, this is the method I'm talking about where I'm flipping my bundles. So because of the sealant, I can sometimes directly just glue the hair down on the wig cap. And then once I have it done that way, I go on the opposite side and I put some glue down, and then I'm putting the hair back down in that direction. So all of my tracks are pretty tight and close together. I do the semicircle, kind of like a horseshoe all the way around method with my first bundle, and I then continue that with my second bundle as well. So I'm going to try and make sure I'm going through this as slow as possible, just so y'all know what it is that I'm saying. I sometimes do add the glue directly to my wig cap, and then once I have accomplished that, I will sometimes go ahead and add it to the actual length of the weft itself to put it down. And this is the horseshoe type of perimeter thing that I'm talking about. Once you have placed it in one direction and you have fully completed, like sealed it, the opposite side that is basically facing up, the part that we're seeing now that does not have glue, that is the part of the area you would then glue and put and flip down. So you're basically rotating it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth in order to do it, instead of just going in and snipping and clip and just cutting each track and then laying it down. The next video I will drop after this, doing the IV no part like flip over method, that is how I will do that one to kind of show you the difference. But if you really have spent a good chunk of money on some bundles and you really do not want to cut them, this is the method that I would say that you should do in order to do it. And yes, they are reusable after doing this method. So pretty much here it is, we're doing it again. We're just making sure that we are gluing things down, and I want to stress that take your time to make sure that it's glued down, because at one point you're gonna see that I kind of snagged my head and it like popped up a little bit, and that's because I did not wait long enough for it to glue down. You can feel free to make sure that you use a hair dryer or blow dryer for like 30 seconds to make sure that it does that. That's also something you could do. I just really didn't want to add any heat. Like the amount of heat that I could avoid is exactly what I was going for. So this is just the final one that I left here. And then at the end is when I went in with a blow dryer to just make sure every single track was glued down and it was secure and it was good before I would go in and then cut this black cap off of my head. So you want to make sure that every single thing and every track is glued down and is in place before you start cutting this off, because if you're not making sure everything is done, it's going to slide off your head and then it's just going to be a waste of time. So for this process, one of the things that I have learned to do that I think is like a little trick that I really enjoy doing is add in some synthetic clip-ins to certain parts of my hair whenever I can, especially blending it with human hair, because I think it just does something. Like it creates this fullness, it creates like a more cohesive look to the blend of my specific hair. So my hair is very kinky, straight textured. And so there is one part where I will have the clip-ins in to show you the difference versus I also want you to see what it looks like with just having the body wave bundles in, and that's it. So I'm making sure that I'm using this small scissor and I'm taking my time to just make sure I'm cutting everything out. Slow and steady will win the race. I think if you've been paying attention to my entire channel, I'm always making sure that I say less is more. You can always go back and add, but it's so hard when you have to clean up a big mess. So because of how close my bundles are together and the wefts are together, this is pretty much what you're looking at. That if the wind blow outside too hard, as we know right now is really, really cold, you can see that there isn't really much there that you're seeing. And so that is the look that you're pretty much going for. And then I pretty much go in and I flat iron all of my hair. I am going kind of on this journey, like I said, to make sure that I'm not adding a lot of heat. So I'm going to just run through like a bunch of rapid fire questions that people typically ask whenever they see people doing a quick weave, just to make sure that I answer this question. How did you take this out? In my next video, I'm going to make sure I show you at the beginning exactly how I took it out, but it's literally just water. Adding water, if you're washing hair and you just make some water go on your head, or you have a spray bottle and put water on your hair, trust me, it's going to come out. It's fine. Did my hair get damaged while doing this? No, it did not. There was no matting, there was no tangling, there was no shedding, there was just absolutely nothing. If you do it safely and properly, then you will be fine. How long did I keep this in? I want to say about a week and a half to 2 weeks, and then I installed the other quick weave look that I'm going to be dropping after this. So I think those are probably some of the most frequent questions people ask when they see people doing this. Did it itch? Not really. If your hair is clean and cleansed from the beginning, I think you should be fine. But you can also make sure that the glue and the sealant that you're putting on your hair have like aloe vera or something added to it, so that it's actually not going to give you anything that you are allergic. And so that's something, not allergic but sensitive too. So if you get products that are made for sensitive skin, sensitive scalps, that should be very helpful. So I do want to point that out to just make sure that sometimes it could be that you are allergic to something. That's why you are very sensitive to it, or just the chemicals that's in it is just not made for you. So this is what it looks like without me adding the synthetic clip-ins, and then this is what it looks like with me added the synthetic clip-ins. So thank y'all so much, and see y'all in the next video. Can you feel it, baby?